The point of our stories is to affirm those parts of us that still continue to express. And a lot of myths get very, very out of date. The myth of isolation, anomie, alienation, the myth of the island of our little selves, the ego. I mean, even Freud said there was a superego. I'd like to meet superego. Yeah.
I have come to rescue you from old mythologies. I am superego. I hide beneath all previous mythologies. I am a remake of Superman, over and over again.
But little us, all we have is free will, and that curious investigatory capacity called rationality, which coupled with intuition and empathy makes for our personality self-defense. The world is emergent. The world is emergent. The world is emergent, racing somewhere else. And they gotta get there really fast, because if they don't get there fast, things might happen. Happily, things happen anyway. I've met storytellers who were able to conjure up the Celtic mythology, and they went to places they talked about, Cornwall and Glastonbury. And in Cornwall I found little bushes by the sides of wells and springs and rivers where people had put bits of cloth for their prayers and petitions, and it was as if they were invoking the power of the river or the well or the spring. And my friends took me walking down into the Cornwall landscape to this small little cell, and I mean it was 10 feet square, where a monastic had lived in the cell. And it was beautiful because at the altar part they had a little river coming through the chapel and out the other end. So it really was the waters of life. It was holy water. The water was holy long before they called it holy. And waters and springs were sacred long before we violated them and took the groundwater. And the land itself doesn't need to be called holy earth because it's the only earth we have. That makes it extremely unique and precious. And all these futuristic ideas that we can go off in a little ark and go to space and settle down somewhere are dreams without validity, scientifically, emotionally, psychically, and spiritually. We all long to go to perfection and paradise. We all think, I'll get there after I die. Well, why die? What a waste. Once, there was an English writer who was also a comedian, and he wrote a book called Stark. Ben Elton was his name. Wonderful comedian during the Thatcher time. And the idea was that a hippie and a punk and a scientist and a few other various archaeological ideologues went off in a little ark into space to take the human race to somewhere they could live. The moon, Mars, whatever dream is fashionable at the moment. And what happened? They all fought each other. So before they left, you imagine on Noah's Ark, I told you to take out the rubbish. I don't want to take out the rubbish. The animals in the suburbs fighting over role definitions. And the same is true for us. Once down Cornwall, they set up meant to be a recycling biosphere, it was called Eden, the Eden Project. The Eden Project is still there, but they could not manufacture a rainforest, which is what they tried to do. They tried to make a multi-species example so that on the space station you'd have a biosphere where you could tend your little garden and have things growing in space without what we have here, Earth. And it didn't work. Which goes to show that the myth has got to be a lot stronger before we can believe that we can leave where we are and make something better. I do not want to subscribe to the myth that we can have a moon base or a mission to Mars or sit on Saturn, except in our mind's eye. In that place, our imaginations mold and compound. In the land of metaphor and fable and myth, I'll believe anything because you don't have to believe it. It is just a story, just like this story. Will we stay on the earth, or will we go to another land which is perhaps better than the land we came from? I don't know if there's anything better than South Austin. I don't know if there's anywhere better than Maria's Taco Express this Tuesday night, and I don't believe there's any better company than Louise and the wonderful Scott.
Aw, nice. Still your turn.